you either could keep them really low or take them outside. The acoustics in here, it's very difficult acoustics, difficult to hear, so we would appreciate that. I'm Councilmember Jose Huizar, Chair of the committee. This is the Planning and Land Use Management Committee. We've been joined by Councilmember Marquise Harris Dawson, Councilmember Gilbert Cedillo, and Councilmember Mitch Englander. We will start with item number 1, report from the Director of Planning. Welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. Lisa Weber, Deputy Director with the Department of City Planning. Just a brief director's report for you this afternoon. I've passed out for your review some materials related to our recent proposed amendments to our small lot ordinance and other matters related to small lot development throughout our jurisdiction. This has been a real success story for us this calendar year. It just went to the City Planning Commission for their consideration on August 25th and did pass through. We do expect this to be coming before you before the end of the calendar year. So just very briefly, we took amendments to the small lot ordinance, the creation of new design standards and a new administrative clearance process out for a public review process. We covered 3 different public open houses as well as public hearings in 3 different locations throughout our jurisdiction. And what we learned is that everybody was generally unhappy with the provisions of this amendment. We heard from both the development community as well as neighborhood groups. For the period of time following that, we made a number of changes and amendments, collected a group of individuals, really vetted the issues, brought it back out for a 60-day review, and brought it to the City Planning Commission in August. What we've learned today is that we've been successful in addressing these issues. The materials before you really provide a summary, a Q&A sheet, as well as other materials that really help explain the modifications that we're pursuing. So again, if you're interested in any further information, the department is available at your request. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. We look forward to the continued work on this. Are there any questions or comments? Seeing none, we will receive and file item number 1. Item number 2, I understand that is a reappointment of Ms. Norame Cadena in the North Valley Area Planning Commission. We will take that item on consent. We understand she could not make it today, but we've had this individual in this committee before, and that was appropriate just to move this on consent. Any objections? Seeing none, so ordered. Item number 5, that's the report from DCP relative to a system for updating community plans, batching general plan amendments, EIR consultants, and technology plans. We will continue to September 13th. Item number 5 continued to September 13th without objection. Item number 6 and 10 we will take on consent if there are no cards on either of those. There are no cards. Can you read those into the record?
Sure.
CLA, and then we'll take those on consent.
So item 6, Councilman, this is a report from the Planning Commission. It's a general plan amendment and a zone change, and this is a correction ordinance, and it's for property located in CD1 at 3339 through 3329 North Griffin Avenue. That was number 6, and number 7, Councilman.
Number 10.
Number 10, Councilman. This is a North Valley APC zone change. This is for the demo of a single-family home and the construction of a new 14-unit apartment building located in CD6.
Thank you. So we'll take those items without objection and approve those items. Seeing no objection, so ordered. Item number 3. Call that to order, please.
Sure. Item 3, Councilman, this is a motion, Wes and Bonin, Lumenfield Rue. It's asking Building and Safety to suspend the processing of liens that come before City Council confirmation, and there's a report from Building and Safety on file.
Welcome. Is staff here to present this item?
Good afternoon. Steve Ongala from the Department of Building and Safety. The report before you is in response to instruction you gave us on June 21st to come up with ways to simplify our lien process. And the report walks you through the entire process from the time that an order to comply is issued to code violation to the time that we eventually send out the invoice and start the lien process. So to complete this process, we actually worked with several stakeholders, including the makers of the motion, Council District 10, Council District 11. We worked with the CAO and the city attorney to put this report together. So the main recommendation in this report really is to delegate the public hearing authority from City Council to LA BBSC, which is the LA Board of Building and Safety Commissioners. The rest of the recommendations go hand in hand with that recommendation, and they're all on page 2 of the report. In addition to that recommendation, I'm also happy to report to you today that LADBS has implemented various enhancements that are already showing improvements to the process. Those improvements include, but are not limited to, having an inspector and an accountant available at all council meetings to make sure that we're able to answer all the questions. For the questions that are not answered during the council hearings, the Department of Building and Safety investigates and gets back with the customers to make sure that the questions are addressed adequately. We're also sending invoices now that we didn't send certified mail to both the property owner and the tenant. I also want to report to you that your committee a couple weeks ago approved an ordinance that would allow us to record pending lien. When we record pending liens, it actually gives us an opportunity to start working with the customers immediately and not wait until there's a lien process in City Council for them to start working with us. We've also created a database that allows us to work with the customers whenever there's an issue. We have attached attachments A through D, different forms that we're going to be using to make the process more streamlined. I am available to answer any questions that you may have regarding the report. The CAO, I believe, is available, the city attorney, and other members of building and safety staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that report. Just a couple of questions. Has the department already started to make the changes necessary to implement these procedures?
So the department has made quite a few changes. The big change that the department has not made and the department has no authority to change is to delegate the public hearing authority from City Council to the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners. That needs an ordinance, and in the recommendation, there's a recommendation to instruct the city.
My question is, we haven't adopted the ordinance, but has the department begun to implement those changes, even if we haven't adopted the ordinance?
Yes, there are changes that we've already started implementing. Like I said, we are now sending certified mail to the property owner to send them an invoice, as well as the tenant. In addition to that, we've created a database that allows us to track all the problem liens, all the problem accounts, to be able to work with the customers and resolve those.
Okay. So under the new procedures, the council would designate the Building and Safety Commission as the hearing body. Will there be an appeal, availability for appeal, or would that be the final determination under the new procedures?
So one process that we didn't have before that now we have, it's going to start on September 21st, and that is the ability to be able to record pending liens on property. So pending liens, we're just putting a placeholder on a lien, or rather on a property, for the property owner to understand that this will happen in the future. Now, the reason I say that is that we've found out that most customers only come up or come out to City Council when they hear that there's a lien. So with a pending lien in there, they will know early in advance and they will come to us and we will discuss that before there's even a chance to send the lien to the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners. Now, when they go there, that's a chance for an appeal. They can also appeal to City Council if they need to. But it is our belief that with the new system we're putting in place, that's not going to be necessary.
Okay, so for any of these liens to come up on a city council agenda under the new procedures, they would automatically go after the commission has made its determination or only under appeal?
The committee will have, the commission will have made its determination and will have fulfilled the public hearing process. So when it comes to City Council, it could go on consent or City Council can decide and discuss it further.
Okay, so it's a final determination at the commission level.
The final determination is really with the City Council because once they have it done, the same way you're done in committee, you make a recommendation to City Council, and then they approve it.
So whatever decision is made at the commission will still go to council,
Yes,
but you're hoping under these new procedures that most people go to the commission and state the case, as opposed to what we have now, which is a majority of these individuals come to council and state their case at council, where really there's no time for a deliberative process, which we want to give individuals an opportunity to be able to deliberate the issues they bring up, and that's why we want to move them to commission. So they'll make a determination, come to council. Council most likely go consent because the hearing occurred, unless, as we do now, we would probably, if a council member wants to raise the issue, or even what if somebody puts in a card to speak on the item, they would not be given that opportunity because a hearing has already been held, correct?
correct.
Okay. So they should be guided towards the commission to be heard and have a deliberative process there. Okay.
That is correct.
Thank you. Mr. Englander?
Just a quick question on the actual fees on the table on page 7. This indicates that currently the letters are going only to the property owner, and you're mailing about 20,800 letters annually. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And now you're proposing going from 20,800 certified mail to 109,200. Is that correct?
That is correct, and I want to explain that. The reason that number goes up is because the makers of the motion requested the department to consider the possibility of sending all mail through certified mail. And so we are providing a cost there to just let you know.
Is this, and the proposed cost on this, though, is, it looks like the total cost in the report, that's all out of pocket on certified mail. But this says here at the bottom of the table, total weekly, current plus proposed. And I'm having, so are you suggesting, because it says here total weekly, 1.5 million, that this would be the total weekly cost?
No.
That's what it says. Am I reading it differently?
Just bear with me a second.
Sure, I'm reading it differently. But it says total weekly, 1.5 million. I could not support it if we were going to jump up to $1.5 million a week.
So if you look at the note underneath the table,
Right.
it tells you that staffing/salary figures based on 2080 working hours per year.
Right.
And that's the,
No, I see that, but if you look right above it in the total, the box, right above it,
yeah,
the bottom of the table,
yes.
can you, maybe I'm reading it differently. What does it say on yours?
Okay, so total weekly current proposed for mail that's sent annually, it's 109. That's the current. Postage rate certified.
Right, so it's saying total staff, total cost at the end, On the right of the table, it says total cost, staff plus mail. It's saying total weekly, current plus proposed, is 1.5 million a week.
Yeah, it is not 1.3. That's
It's a
that's a
typo?
typo. Yes.
So total annually,
Yeah, it's annual.
big difference. Okay.
So if you look at the fiscal impact statement, it will actually tell you that as well, 1.3.
Just double checking.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a difference. Okay. Thank you for that clarification.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, with that, we'll move to adopt the motion, approve the building and safety report with recommendations to, 1, approve in concept the establishment of a new lien public hearing process for nuisance abatement and code enforcement activities, provided that the Department of Building and Safety, wherein the council designates another hearing body and thereafter the hearing body provides written recommendations to the council. Request the city attorney prepare and present ordinances in 60 days to amend pertinent sections of the municipal code to transfer the public hearing requirements from city council to the Board of Building and Safety Commissioners. Instruct the Building and Safety Department with the assistance of the CAO to prepare a budget proposal reflecting anticipated costs to be incurred by the Building and Safety Department under the proposed new hearing process. Move to refer the item to the Budget and Finance Committee with instruction to report on the anticipated costs incurred by the proposed new program and to also report on the structure of associated fees and late fees. Authorize the Building and Safety Department to prepare controller instructions for any technical adjustments subject to the approval of the CAO, and authorize and instruct the controller to implement these instructions.
Do you want to make a notation also that the report, the total is an annual total rather than a weekly total?
Yes, we can
So that
make
should
that
be
correction,
noted.
please. And those numbers will be refined in Budget and Finance.
Correct.
All righty. Any objections? So ordered. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your work on that. Next item, item 4.
Item 4, Councilman, this is a report from City Planning. It's relative to an affordable housing policy and known as a value capture policy.
Okay, staff here on this item, please.
Yes, good afternoon, council members. Matt Gillespie with the Planning Department in our housing unit. This is an item that came out of a council motion from Councilmember O'Farrell, seconded by Councilmember Huizar, to look at policy options around an idea of linking certain entitlements that ask for residential density increases more than 35%, so exceeding our density bonus program, whether there should be an affordable housing component built in. We were here, Plum, I believe on May 31st. We presented a report dated May 27th, looking at what other cities have done, what some options may be, and asking for council's further direction. I think we also presented an oral report on May 31st, so I think we're just here happy to answer any questions or follow up on any items that there may be.
Thank you. We have one public comment card. Joseph Bray Ali.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Joseph Bray Ali. I'm a candidate for the 1st Council District. I'm here today in support of the value capture motion. There's a project located in the 1st Council District that is a banner project for this type of policy. It's a College Station project which was acquired in the early 2000s, re-entitled at a much higher density with 685 market rate units, sold to another company with 0 affordable housing included in it. It has sidestepped the CAS process, and I commend the committee for taking steps forward on this policy where so many affordable housing policies have crashed against the rocks of the Housing Committee. I'd like to commend you all for your dedicated work on this critical issue as housing and homelessness rates have skyrocketed in the 1st Council District, and if elected next March, I look forward implementing this policy with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on this? Mr. Cedillo.
A couple of things before we get to March. Where are we? Didn't we ask for a study? Didn't planning ask us to give them $300,000 and they were going to give us a feasibility study.
Yes, Councilmember, we, in our report, suggested that a policy of this nature would require some analysis to make sure that we are enacting a policy that is feasible in developments. That study has not taken place. We've not able to secure funding for that study. I think there's also a question of whether a full $300,000 study may be needed if the policy option was crafted in a certain way where we had a certain assurances that there would not be significant impacts that may or may not be necessary. But I think part of that is also needing to know what exactly some of the numbers would be in some of the actual policies before we could study them, and we don't have a proposal that can actually be studied as yet.
Okay.
So what are we doing then?
So let me give direction to the planning department to work with the CEO to identify the source of funding for $300,000 requested to hire a consultant to conduct the economic feasibility assessment, and instruct the planning department to, in consultation with the CEO, to report back with a more detailed analysis as identified in planning report dated 5/27/16. So, do we have a timeline for this, staff? How long? Can you do that in 60 days?
I believe so. Just want to be clear what the expectation is. You'd like a report with some actual specific policy proposals within 60 days?
Yes, well, it's not to actually do the economic study, but identify potential sources of where you could find the $300,000.
Okay. Yeah, I think that sounds fine.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Mr. Englander.
Just as a point of clarification, because I'm still hearing two different things, one from the chair and one from staff. One understanding you're asking for, just so I understand it, for staff to come back and identify with the CAO potential funding sources for the $300,000 study. What you suggested is coming back with policy recommendations. Those are two very different things. The policy recommendations would only come after the study.
Yeah, I apologize. I thought I heard two directions. I thought I heard
yes, the
report
first
back
one,
on the money and the policy options. Excuse me.
How do you come back with policy options without doing the study?
Claire Bowen, City Planning. At this point, we're not 100% sure we really need to do the full study. We've had a number of other studies that have been done in the department related to other fees, and we think we may have enough information to be able to start to craft an ordinance without embarking on a $300,000 study.
Okay, so if that could be part of the report back, which is to identify potential sources and or if this study is even necessary.
Exactly.
Because in discussions, we've talked about how this has been studied over and over for years, and there might be enough analysis out there that's just a matter of tidying up some issues, updating some areas. So we may not even need this study. So if that could be part of the report back.
Exactly.
But you're correct, Mr. Englander, on this additional policy analysis. Let's get the report back first, and then we'll determine what additional policy analysis, if any, we would need at that time, and then we'll move from there.
What we might also be able to do when we come back is then maybe present to you what some of our suggested strategies might be. So we can kind of do both things at once.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. 60 days. Mr. Cedillo?
I don't object to that. I agree, but I just want to make sure we have the sequence in order.
Sequencing is important.
Because, deferring to you, Mr. Chair, it seems that we would want to do the study first and then evaluate and the policy options and then make decisions on that. I know that on the 31st that we had asked for this and for the CAO and the CLA to work on this and to evaluate and analyze the sequencing, the consequences, and the impacts both on affordable and workforce housing of this policy and then other relevant elements with respect to the policy.
So the direction is to come back in 60 days with identifying potential sources for the study and or a report as to why that study may not be necessary. Yeah, but an explanation of that. Okay, great, thanks. Thank you very much. So ordered. Next item, and before I go on, I do want to remind the public that...
Mr. Chair, while we're still there, just for the record, I want to correct the record. I know that the witness came up and spoke about a project for which there was no affordability, but in fact there is 20% affordability in that project. Our district has gone from last in building permits and business permits since we've been in office to first both in affordable and both preservation and in addition to workforce housing, just for the record.
Great, thanks. Okay, and some administrative matters. We need to establish that for this committee regarding public comment, a member of the public wishing to speak on more than one agenda item at a single meeting shall limit his or her remarks on agenda items to a total of 5 minutes per meeting. A member of the public may allocate time between items in 1 minute increments per item, up to 5 minutes total. As chair, I will provide up to 2 warnings to any individual speaking out of turn, off agenda, or otherwise disrupting their proceedings. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, clarification as it relates to item 4. The planning department has asked if the item stays in committee.
Yes, it stays in committee.
Okay,
yes,
very good.
Yes. Okay. And for the general public, we have to read that administrative item because there are some individuals who come in and want to speak on every item and essentially disrupt this meeting. So we'd like to keep this meeting focused on its business. Thank you. Next item.
Councilman, items 7 and 8 are interrelated. Item 7 is a general plan amendment and a zone change for the Paramount Pictures master plan, and number 8 is a development agreement. I don't know if you would like to take them together.
All right. Yes, we'll take items 7 and 8 together as they pertain to the same project. If you have filled out a comment card for either item or both, your comment time will be limited to 1 minute total. The applicants have 5 minutes. There are no appellants, correct? No appellants. The applicants have a total of 5 minutes. And who are you, sir?
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Adam Villani. I'm a city planner with the City Planning Department.
Okay.
Assigned to the Paramount Pictures Master Plan project.
All right. 1 second, please.
Sure.
So, okay, go right ahead. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 7 is one of 2 entitlement cases associated with this project before you today. CPC 2011-2459, GPA ZC SPSNCA consists of a general plan amendment, zone change, specific plan, and a code amendment. The project site is defined by the main lot and the 6 ancillary lots with proposed construction of approximately 1,385,700 square feet of net new floor area, consisting of new stage, production office, support, office, and retail uses. In terms of the environmental clearance, ENV 2011-2460 EIR, the notice of preparation was issued on October 13th, 2011, and a scoping meeting was held on October 27th, 2011. The draft EIR was published on September 10th, 2015, and circulated for a 47-day comment period. The final EIR was issued on April 14th, 2016, and an errata to clarify technical corrections was posted in July 2016. The public hearing for this project was held on May 16th, 2016, at the First Presbyterian Church in Hollywood. It was attended by approximately 150 individuals, where 42 speakers were provided unrestricted time to speak. The subject case was before the City Planning Commission on July 14th, 2016, which recommended approval with modifications and technical corrections. We would like to describe some modifications that staff made to the specific plan upon review for clarity and form during the time since it was transmitted 10 days ago. Specifically, subsections 1.5D, 6, and 7 were removed because the specific plan permit compliance procedures are used in the land use exchange program described in section 3.4 of the specific plan. Also, the administrative clearance procedures described in section 10 were merged into section 3.2. Item 8 is the second of the two cases before you today. CPC 2011-2462-DA is a proposed 22-year development agreement between the City of Los Angeles and Paramount Pictures Corporation, which provides approximately $9 million in public benefits. Again, the case was before the City Planning Commission on July 14th, 2016, which recommended approval with modifications. Staff is available to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I stand corrected. My notes said to give each person 1 minute total, but actually they are two agenda items, so each person is entitled to 1 minute per agenda item. So I'm going to, as I go to public comment, call everyone who signed up for item number 7 and put in a card. And item number 8, I will do the same. Anybody who put in a card for item number 8, we will go through those as well. And anybody who signed up with one card saying 7 and 8, please, we'll go through the cards right now and fix that and separate them. And if you do not wish to speak on both items as I call number 8, you could waive that as well. So we'll start off with Sharon Kaiser from Paramount Pictures.
Good afternoon, Chairman Weezar and council members. I'm Sharon Kaiser with Paramount Pictures, and we appreciate this opportunity to present our plan to you. Paramount's master plan is critical to our future. It will help us meet our business needs, keep pace with evolving technology, and allow us the flexibility to grow and invest in Hollywood. For more than 100 years, Paramount has been at the forefront of movie-making industry right here in Hollywood. We're the only major studio remaining in Hollywood, and we feel a responsibility to ensure that our iconic studio is maintained. At its core, this master plan is about keeping our studio viable for the future with the fast-paced changes in our industry and making sure that entertainment and production jobs stay in Los Angeles. We've been in this neighborhood for 90 years, and we're proud of our relationship with our community. Our employees donate thousands of hours each year in our local schools and in neighborhood activities. Because our community is important to us, we've done an extensive outreach of our master plan over the past few years with over 100 meetings with our neighbors and stakeholders. We've listened to our neighbors, and during this presentation, I'll highlight some of the changes we've made to the project as a result of those conversations. This master plan is the first time we've taken a cohesive look at our entire studio lot to improve synergies and efficiencies. I'm sorry we don't have a map of the site, but let me kind of explain it to you. Our entire property is 62 acres in size. Our main lot is 56 acres and is bounded by Gower, Van Ness, what used to be Marathon Street, and the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. We came to the eastern portion of that part of our property in 1926, and the majority of the buildings that remain there today were built in the 20s, 30s, and 40s. At the same time Paramount was creating its lot on that portion of the property, RKO Studio was next door building their own separate lot on the western half of the area, and there was a chain link fence separating the two studios. By 1967, RKO Studios was owned by Desilu and was up for sale, and Paramount purchased the Desilu Studios lot. The fencing separated the two came down, and for the first time the property functioned as one single ownership. And then in the late 80s, early 90s, Paramount purchased some of the properties along Melrose, and that's when the boundary that you see today along Melrose came to be. We also purchased some outlying parcels along Gower, Melrose, and Van Ness. And most of those outlying parcels are used for parking today, with the exception of one parcel on Gower, which we have allowed Head Start to use free of charge for the last 19 years. When we embarked on this master plan, we wanted to be sure that we honored and preserved our studio's history while we still were making changes to prepare for our future. In the process, we worked directly with Hollywood Heritage, the LA Conservancy, and the city's Office of Historic Resources not only to listen, but to actually respond to their input. From day one, our goal has been a plan that balances the needs of our business and protects the legacy of our studio. From a historic preservation standpoint, we have a very strong preservation plan. We are proposing the creation of 2 historic studio districts, RKO and Paramount Pictures studio districts. These districts will each preserve 60% of contributing buildings in their districts. We will also preserve the KCAL building, which is along Melrose. We've created a preservation plan that we think will continue our stewardship of the studio. In response to Hollywood Heritage, the Conservancy, and others, we've also provided additional elements to our original plan, and we've agreed to reinstall the RKO globe atop the new building at the new corner of Melrose and Gower. Our project includes the following key elements, which exist today, and we will just be expanding and creating more state-of-the-art facilities. Production and production support, which includes new stages and support uses, such as set lighting, grips, and set storage. Production office, we're trying to locate much of our new production office closer to stages, which is a situation we don't have as often today as we would like. Regular office will be where workers who are not immediately involved in production activities would be located, such as finance teams, IT, human resources. And in order to limit the amount of historic buildings that we are having to remove, we've had to go vertical in a few instances. However, in response to the community and consistent with the city planning's recommendation, we've agreed to limit the height of the tallest building, which we had originally proposed at 240 feet in height. We are proposing to limit that to 150 feet in height. Our plan also includes employee amenities and retail, all internal serving, and of course, parking. We believe we've taken a thoughtful approach to our future, and I'm happy to respond to any specific questions you have on those elements. I'd like to add here that in response to comments from the community.
Your time is up. Thank you.
Okay.
Did you have a long paragraph, or was it just one sentence?
I thought I would mention that we have agreed to remove digital signs and super graphic signs in response to the Commission and our neighbors, and we have a project labor agreement, and some of our friends in the unions are here with us today.
So that was a long sentence, right? That's what it was. Thank you. A lot of commas. Maria Hoy, John Garotto, and Dwayne Gathers. 1 minute each. Thanks.
Good afternoon, Chairman Weezard, honorable council members. I'm Maria Hoy of Latham & Watkins for Paramount Pictures. We appreciate the Planning Department and Planning Commission's review of the Paramount Pictures Master Plan and their recommendations. We submitted a letter to your committee last week requesting your approval of the Commission's recommendations, with certain modifications and technical corrections. I would like to address a couple of the items in our letter today. First, in the specific plan, based on further discussion with the Planning Department, we've modified our requests related to projects requiring administrative clearance under the specific plan. I have a revised attachment A to our letter noting those changes, which would reduce the requested exclusion to up to 10% or 10,000 square feet for remodels and 5,000 square feet for new construction. Second, Council District 13 requested the inclusion of a CPI increase for the $5 million fund. I have a revised attachment B that includes the requested CPI language and corrects a math error in the prior draft.
Great, thank you.
I will submit the revised attachments to the clerk.
Thank you. And I see you're speaking on both items. You might want to also sign up for number 8 if you wanted to.
I just had a concluding sentence, actually.
Oh, go right ahead if you have a concluding sentence.
Just wanted to request your approval of the changes in our letter and these modifications and ask you to direct the Planning Department and City Attorney to make the changes in the documents and the related findings. Thank you.
Thank you. John Garotto?
John Garotto, speaking for Hollywood Heritage. First off, Hollywood Heritage has an excellent relationship with Paramount Pictures, and we commend them for all the preservation work that they're doing. I'm here today just to confirm that the Department of City Planning has corrected an inaccurate language in the letter of determinations project design feature C1. There's a letter in front of you from Hollywood Heritage, and it's concerning the Stage 21 studio globe and its retention. Planner Ms. Lucia Ibarra said that this was the forum to confirm that correction, and so that's what I'm asking the Plum Committee for is confirmation.
Great. Thank you. Dwayne Gathers, Matthew Swearman, Kathy Simonek.
Good afternoon, Chairman. My name is Dwayne Gathers, and I've been a resident of Hancock Park for the last 13 years near Paramount Studios, and my business is located near Paramount as well in Hollywood. I'm here to strongly support Paramount's master plan and urge your support. As the last major studio headquartered in Hollywood, this type of economic investment on their part represents significant economic benefits for the city and also for the greater Hollywood community far beyond the studio gates. It also serves to stimulate new economic activity and support small business activity, which we've seen along Melrose and Larchmont particularly. Paramount has come up with a thoughtful plan that preserves its century of history while recognizing the imperative of innovative upgrades to its facilities to keep pace with rapid change. We believe this industry is important to Los Angeles, clearly. Paramount is important to this community, and this type of economic investment by one of our iconic studios can only help it compete for the future while generating jobs and job benefits and activities in the community.
Thank you. Matthew Swearman? Not here? Oh, there. Kathy Simonek after that?
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Matthew Swearman. I'm also a resident of Hancock Park, specifically Larchmont Village. I'm familiar with the studio's plan and very familiar with the studio as a resident and all the positive things that they do for our community, and I'm happy to support their master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathy Simonek, Jim Rodarte, Robert Beasy, and Craig Collins.
Hi, I'm Kathy Simonek. I've owned and resided in my single-story family home in Larchmont Village for 14 years. As a member of the Larchmont Heights HPOZ Steering Committee, I participated in our recent physical survey of properties in our neighborhood just south of the Paramount lot across Melrose. Our survey identified recently that about 80% of the properties would qualify as contributors in an HPOZ, attesting to the historical nature of our neighborhood that we're intent on preserving.
Welcome.
Yes, good afternoon, council members. I have lived in Windsor Square for 25 years, and I oppose the Paramount expansion plan. Digital electronic signage is a euphemism for jumbotrons. Jumbotrons belong in Times Square, not in any Los Angeles neighborhood. Jumbotrons are a sleazy, slow, soul-crushing, insane eyesore blight. Other studios are doing great business without electronic signs at all. Electronic signs do not guarantee blockbusters for any studio at all. They are totally a necessary gimmick. My property value will go down if no one wants to live next to jumbotrons 24 hours a day. The property values will go down and property taxes will go down also. These signs will create a slum with graffiti and crime. How much taxes does a low-rent slum bring for the city? And also the cost of added police. Do not destroy our neighborhood by passing these laws, which are short-sighted, make no sense, and destroy beautiful, charming communities. Thank you.
Beasy, Craig Collins, Ed Duffy.
My name is Robert Beasy. For nearly 25 years, I have had the pleasure of residing in my home less than a block away from the Paramount project. Since 2011, we have requested that Paramount move its tallest proposed building to a different location on its lot. The proposal puts the 150-foot tall building behind the historic KCAL, formerly RKO building. A better location would be at the east side of the signalized Bronson Gate. This would be across the street from the taller ballet studio buildings, and it would be in a legitimate usage zone. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Craig Collins.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for letting me speak. I'm here speaking on behalf of myself, since I'm a longtime resident of this area in Mid-City, and shop and dine with my family on Larchmont, and about 10 times a week, my wife or I drive right up Gower past Paramount to take our daughter to school. I'm also speaking on behalf of a relatively new environmental interest organization called the SoCal Environmental Justice Alliance. And on my behalf and on their behalf, we have submitted several letters already. I just wanted to reference those, including one dated today, which we delivered to Etta Armstrong, one dated July 25 to Sharon Dickinson, and we have a July 13 letter to Adam Villani of the Planning Commission. So I wanted to make sure the committee was aware of our letters. We have detailed comments in those letters about our concerns with the EIR for this project. I'm a big believer in the Environmental Quality Act, and this EIR simply does not comply. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed Duffy, Beth Doors, and Don Easy.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members. My name is Ed Duffy. I'm Vice President of Teamsters Local 399, who represents drivers, location managers, casting directors, and others working in the entertainment industry. Our local strongly supports the Paramount Pictures Hollywood project. In these economically competitive times for the entertainment industry in California, we're glad to see that they're putting their investment dollars for the development of the property for the future of our industry. All of the unions and guilds fought hard to get the state to recognize how important it is for our livelihood to keep production and our jobs at home where they belong. With the expanded tax incentive program, and we need the infrastructure to grow and advance as well to support those jobs. That's why I'm here. Teamsters Local 399 wants you to know that we very strongly support this project and all the economic value it brings for all our members, guilds, unions, vendors, and everyone. And I also want to add that personally, my family practically grew up on that Paramount lot. My grandfather worked there in the 30s. My uncle worked there in the 40s. It's a very important element for us to keep and to expand. Thanks.
Thank you. Beth Doors, Don Easy, and Lori Goldman.
I'm Beth Doris. I represent one of the homeowners and appellant in the tentative tract that's related to this matter, and up, I believe, in a week. The proposed changes on August 30th to the specific plan and the development agreement took us a little bit by surprise. I understand that they've been changed. We haven't seen them. Reserve the right to comment on them. Generally concerned that seeking a full permitting exemption for developments of 15,000 square feet is a big problem here, especially since there is a master plan level EIR and no specific plan study done under CEQA. We also would be concerned, however, with the 10,000 square foot exemption, as if I heard correctly, was proposed today. With respect to the development agreement, we're similarly concerned that the property could be pieced up and transferred. Thank you.
Thank you. Don Easy.
Good afternoon. Thank you for your consideration. I'm Don Easy. I'm president of IBW Local 40, and I've also personally been working in the motion picture industry for over 40 years. As president of the union, we strongly support this renovation here of the plan, the master plan. It would be, considering the age of the facility, we do need to get it up to date to move forward and let it to be able to be competitive with other studios in the industry. Also, with the other crafts that are involved here, this is going to bring a lot of money, work, and potential here for Paramount to get more growth, which is needed in this industry. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Lori Goldman, founding president of Friends of the Hollywood Central Park. We are proud to support the Paramount Pictures Master Plan. We share a common interest with Paramount Pictures to continue the revitalization and economic development of Hollywood. The studio has been a major part of our community for nearly 100 years. Its investment will create thousands of jobs, improve production facilities, while also honoring its commitment and stewardship to the preservation of Paramount's history. I'd like you to join with me in acknowledging and thanking Paramount Pictures staff for their extraordinary community outreach efforts, and join Friends of the Hollywood Central Park and the entire Hollywood community in supporting this important project.
Thank you. Marty Shelton, Greg DeGraff, and Andy Chase.
Good afternoon, committee. Marty Shelton. I'm here representing the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce, who supports the Paramount Master Plan. Paramount Pictures has been an employment anchor for Hollywood community for many decades. The production and entertainment business is changing rapidly, and studios need to build new facilities that are in demand by the market. This plan will allow Paramount to stay competitive and employ more creative people while respecting its history in the neighborhood. It will create new, high-paying jobs for the future and generate revenue for local businesses and for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Greg DeGraff, Andy Chase, Ernesto Medrano.
Thank you. My name is Greg DeGraff. I live across the street from Paramount in a rent-controlled apartment. I am one of Paramount's closest neighbors. I live next to parking lot B, which is destined to become a construction site. Aside from the obvious noise issues, Paramount's new structure will obliterate views. The EIR is wrong. Views will be affected. Tenants living at the construction sites will face serious quality of life issues. Will there be rent relief for those losing the view and gaining the noise, soundproofing of windows, something, anything? Paramount is choosing not to disclose when construction will begin. The tenants in the building, I believe, deserve to know. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Andy Chase. I live in the Oaks neighborhood in Hollywood. I'm here to represent myself. I'm here today as a longtime Hollywood homeowner to support Paramount as a good corporate neighbor. I believe that the plan under review has been designed to allow the studio to stay competitive while respecting adjacent neighborhoods as well as providing infrastructure improvements in the area. In my opinion, Paramount has shown that it's a good corporate citizen and a good neighbor. I saw this firsthand when Paramount contacted me to let me know about its master plan. I was impressed and appreciated the fact that they reached out to many of its neighbors. Based on personal experience, this doesn't always happen with development projects. Based on the documents provided to me by the city, the proposed project includes plans to mitigate the impact on neighborhoods as well as support the city's goals to encourage employees and residents to use alternative transit and reduce the number of single-driver cars traveling in the area. For me, the bottom line is that the Paramount Master Plan will create jobs, allow the studio to upgrade its facilities, to remain competitive, take advantage of the changing technology.
Thank you. Ernesto Medrano, Matthew Riley, Marianne Buener.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. My name is Ernesto Medrano, representing the Los Angeles and Orange Counties Building and Construction Trades Council, which is over 47 organizations, well over 140,000 hardworking men and women. And we're here in support of the Paramount Plan. We have a partnership with Paramount of providing well over 7,300 construction jobs. It'll inject probably over $3 billion into the economy, and we're extremely excited of that partnership with Paramount. These are the jobs that you don't go to college to get a degree. These are the hard, outdoor construction jobs, but they're careers. They're not just jobs, they're careers that will be provided for so we can build this iconic structure. We'll be able to make it a cutting-edge entity. It is part of the economic engine of Southern California, and we're very proud to be part of this. We are very hopeful that this passes and goes forward because we're ready to take our tools, get on our work boots, put on our hard hats, get on our vests, and get out there and build this. Thank you very much.
That was good. Hello, my name is Matthew Riley. I'm an actor, a member of SAG-AFTRA, AFOM, musician, and I wholeheartedly support the Paramount Pictures Hollywood project, mainly because I like their community involvement. They're really out there doing the do, as they say, via community. And I'm impressed with one of the entertainment leaders, Sumner Redstone, who says, I am surrounded by people who believe they have an obligation beyond the bottom line, who know where the bottom line ends and social responsibility begins. And that's Paramount. Thank you.
Thank you. Marianne Buehner, Karen Gilman, and Lisa Schechter.
I'm Marianne Beavener, owner-resident in the 600 block of North Plymouth. I'm requesting that you move the tallest proposed building of the 150-foot from the end of Plymouth to the already approved alternate location just to the east of the 4-lane Bronson Gate, across from Raleigh Studios, which is already an industrial use area. We've been requesting relocation since 2011 to alleviate 3 concerns in the neighbors: building height and massing incompatible with the historic nature of the residential neighborhood across from Paramount, the view and aesthetics. A modern building behind the K-Cow building and at 3 times its size would overpower this historic building. Neighbors south of Beverly and LA Conservancy have documented their concerns also. And 3, the traffic, neighborhood intrusion. Do not change the fire lane on the Paramount lot to the unsignalized new Plymouth Gate on Melrose. Please also review our comments submitted on August 23rd. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members of the committee. I'm Karen Gilman. First, I'll read the position statement of the Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council, if that's okay with you. The Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council opposes the Paramount Pictures master plan, the specific plan, the tentative tract map, special sign district, which would have been dealt with, and the final environmental impact report. The Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council joins with surrounding neighborhood organizations in expressing great concern regarding the height of the 2 proposed office towers, the impact of additional traffic, the signs, and super graphics in particular. Let me point out that there was no time for a new community impact statement prior to today's Plum Committee meeting due to the Brown Act constraints. Shall I wait till you call me again for the Larchmont Village Neighborhood Association?
Yes, you probably have more time if you do it that way. You only have about 15 seconds.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Lisa Schechter. I'm the Executive Director of the Hollywood Media Business Improvement District, and I'm here today to testify in support of Paramount Pictures Master Plan. The Hollywood Media bid represents over 500 property owners, which strive to enhance the beautification and commercial viability of the business area to attract companies that provide television, film, and commercial production and post-production services. Filmmaking remains our region's signature industry, and Paramount Pictures is making a commitment to the city, which sets out a 25-year plan which brings revenue, jobs, housing, and spending opportunities for Los Angeles. The Hollywood Media bid is encouraged by Paramount's long-term investment and looks forward to seeing it approved, built, and operational in the near future. The Hollywood Media bid is in full support of Paramount's master plan. I thank you in advance for your consideration.
Thank you. Bert Champagne, Corinne Rogan, John Holland. Welcome.
I'm Bert. I fully support Paramount and what they're doing with the expansion project. We've got to keep the jobs here. I am one of their local neighbors. Paramount's been very forthcoming with everything they're doing. They invite us onto their lot. The very first time I walked onto the Paramount lot was in 1985 when they hosted the first AIDS Walk in the world. They've been part of AIDS Walk every single year. I've had the opportunity to do many events on the Paramount lot as a volunteer for many different charities. And their Viacom Outreach Day, you wouldn't believe what they do for our community. They're very community-oriented. They do so much for so many. I fully support them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm John Howland with the Central City Association, representing 450 businesses with more than 350,000 employees in the region. CCA supports the Paramount Pictures Master Plan and encourages this committee to approve the submissions. The entertainment industry, and especially the motion picture and television filming industry, is synonymous with Los Angeles. The city and the state have undertaken actions in the past few years designed to bring filming back to California and to LA in particular. That is because filming creates lots of good-paying jobs, both in the industry and in the many businesses throughout the city that serve that industry. To make the improvements necessary to keep pace with technology and rapidly changing needs of the industry, Paramount will invest in new sound stages, high-tech film and television production facilities, new office space, and more parking for employees on the Hollywood lot. They've been a good neighbor and a good corporate citizen, and CCA urges your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Jonathan Herrera, Darrell Roberts, Robert Babish or Babizi, one of the two.
Good afternoon. My name is Jonathan Herrera from VICA, the Valley Industry and Commerce Association. VICA supports the Paramount Pictures Hollywood project, which will create jobs and ensure Hollywood remains a major destination for film and television production in LA. As a business advocacy organization, we recognize the benefits this project will bring to LA, bringing nearly 20,000 jobs throughout Los Angeles. During construction, this project will create over $1 billion in economic output and over 7,000 jobs. Operation of the new and updated studio space will maintain over $3 billion annually in economic output and provide over 12,000 local jobs. Our economy needs projects like this to keep and create entertainment jobs in Hollywood. We're pleased to support the Hollywood project, and thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Darrell Roberts. I'm a member of the Screen Actors Guild as well as AFTRA.
Sorry, what was your
name? Darrell Roberts.
Okay.
And I couldn't agree more with the comments made concerning the employment opportunities and the studios need to upgrade. The thing is, they could have spent that money anywhere, but they chose to spend it here and support what the city is doing for developing the entire area around the Red Line subway corridor. I think that's really commendable. Also, it's one of the few companies, the few businesses that actually bring new money into the area instead of just recycling what's already going around. And I couldn't be happier that that studio is doing what it's doing and supporting what you guys are doing throughout the whole area as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Robert Babish, member of SAG-AFTRA, and I've had the pleasure of working on the Paramount lot for a season on a major television show. And I've always been so excited to work there. It's a very historic studio. And at the same time, I'm so excited that the company is giving back so much to their community. I participated in the Give Back program while I was there. And I had the pleasure of walking to work, which was a wonderful thing. One of the things that I love about Paramount is its historic nature, of course, but as you can see, it's not competitive with the studios in the area. Some of the lanes are very tight within, and the production vehicles have a difficult time moving throughout the studio lot. So I'm totally in favor of keeping the jobs here and promoting the studio that has given back so much to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Laurie Tierney, Omar Alba, Dan Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, members of the city, honorable council members and guests. My name is Laurie Tierney, and I am a native Angelino. I am here as a concerned citizen that has a great love for the city, with a family that came out of the entertainment industry, and I am in support of the project. Paramount Studios is an example of a studio adapting to the times, working to ensure production of films and television into the future, assuring jobs in a shrinking industry. Their new construction planning is designed to be consistent with LEED standards, with additional consideration being planned for the health of the occupants of the studio through the well building standard, as it looks at healthy air, water, nutrition, etc., programs for both employees and the community. They intend to extend this wellness education to the surrounding community and neighbors as the good citizens that they are, and I'd like to thank you for supporting the project.
Thank you.
Omar Alba, Senior Vice President, Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Excuse me. I've been to Hollywood Forever Cemetery for almost 30 years, and although we're doing great, Paramount Studios came to the rescue when we needed help, and that was 1996, 97, and 98. The state was about to padlock the cemetery gates, and in my opinion, for those 2 years, when I was left in charge with only 2 staff members and only 2 grave diggers, I did not have a budget, and I was not allowed to sell any property, so there were no monies to appropriate for maintenance, security, irrigation, etc. Paramount Studios stepped in to help with general maintenance, such as helping with trash, as I could not afford a trash haul company to do this. They also helped me to clean up the front lawn, which was taken over by homeless every night. I also relied on their use of a couple of golf carts so that I could make the rounds around 64 acres of the cemetery, as I did not have security. They painted cemetery walls, both inside and outside, to take care of graffiti and vandalism. I support Paramount Studios tremendously. Thank you.
Thank you. Dan Rodriguez, Ernesto Pantoja, and Alicia Witzling.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, council members. I'm here on behalf of the Los Angeles County Business Federation, BizFed, better known as BizFed, over 155 diverse business groups that represent over 325,000 businesses and 3 million employees. We support and strongly support the Paramount Master Plan as a long-term plan to enhance the studio's more than 100-year history to create thousands of jobs. It is significant in Los Angeles in generating $3 million in economic output. The plan has been carefully designed to preserve the historic lot and to ensure the studio keeps pace with technology and the needs of the industry. This will ensure that the last major Hollywood studio will remain in Hollywood. So on behalf of the Los Angeles County's BizFed, please support this master plan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chairman, council members. My name is Ernesto Pantoja. I'm here on behalf of Sergio Rascuan, Business Manager of Labor's Local 300, as well as Tom Inman, the Business Manager of Local 724, our sister local, speaking on behalf of jobs. I mean, we all know that that's why the unions would be supportive of a project like this. But as I spoke at the Planning Commission, it's not just about construction jobs, it's the type of jobs, transformative careers that are created through these jobs. For example, from our sister local site, 724, and our site, we have a lot of members that come out of your constituencies. They're your residents. They come in through local hire programs. They're taken out of an environment where they were either ex-gang members or criminals for one reason or another. They took a wrong side or a wrong path. But ultimately, the union gave them a newfound career and a new life. And that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the type of jobs. So we ask you to please support this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Alicia Witzling, Vincent Mata, Tajana Granitwitz.
Hi, Alicia Witzling with LA Area Chamber of Commerce, the largest business association in LA County. We're here to support Paramount Pictures Master Plan and its investment in its facilities and the region's entertainment industry. As you've heard, the film industry is a significant contributor to our local economy, and maintaining a strong entertainment sector is critical to the LA region. Paramount's project is a $700 million investment in LA and will create new jobs, studio jobs, construction jobs, indirect jobs that support the industry and its workers, caterers, florists, dry cleaners, to name a few. This 25-year plan will allow the studio to grow and adapt to changing technology in the filmmaking business so that Paramount remains competitive and strong. It's important to recognize that for over 100 years, Paramount has led the way in filmmaking and today remains one of the last major studios headquartered in the city. We welcome and encourage this long-term project's contribution for job growth and city revenue. As a reminder, it's expected to result in $3.1 billion in economic output annually for the region, and project capital improvements are expected to create nearly 7,300 jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Vincent Mata, Tajuna Granowitz. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Alma Villegas. I'm a
Sorry, you haven't been called yet. Oh. Have you? Did I call you? No, I did not. Did you fill out a card?
Yeah.
For number 7? Okay, we'll try to locate your card. Thank you.
Sorry
Well,
about that.
if you could let them speak first while I locate your card. Okay, thank you. Vincent Mata.
Vincent Mata, yes. Thank you, committee members. I'm Vincent Mata. I'm a business representative of IATSC, Local 600, International Cinematographers Guild. We represent directors of photography, camera assistants, and publicists. I'm definitely in favor of the Paramount Hollywood project. I personally receive phone calls from members that are out of work, and I think that something like this would really help Hollywood. And in favor of this project, it will help us keep working Hollywood for the next 100 years. And thank you for your attention. Local 600 supports this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Jana Granowitz, Alma Villegas, Bob Iannacone.
Honorable Council President and City Council. I'm Tatiana Granowitz. I'm totally in support of the project. I've been a resident of Hollywood for the past 50 years. It has been sad to see the old Hollywood being dismantled over the last decade. Too many film industry components have been moved to other states and to other countries. I've seen this loss of Hollywood-dependent jobs from a personal perspective. A close friend lost his job when his company left for Canada. This friend initially followed his company to Vancouver, but then returned because this job relocation was too stressful on his family. My neighbors and I are supporting the Paramount project to modernize into the 21st century. May they remain in Hollywood, and may others follow the Paramount example. May all the other lost souls come back to Hollywood. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry about
Oh,
that.
it's your turn.
Hi again. My name is Alma Villegas, and as a longtime resident of Hollywood for over 13 years, and I currently work at a neighboring arts education organization, Artworks LA, which is neighbor to Paramount Pictures lot. I support the studio's plan to invest in more jobs and upgrade its facilities for the entertainment industry. Paramount has been in Hollywood for many generations, and we consider it a good neighbor and community asset. At Artworks LA, we're dedicated to combating the dropout crisis besieging Los Angeles and serve as a vital network to support students who are facing serious challenges that push education down on the priority list. Artworks LA exclusively serves high school students in the alternative education system. Our mission is to combat high school dropout crisis through a long-term sequential arts program, and Paramount Pictures has supported Artworks LA over the years by generously providing in-kind donations with film screening rights for our fundraising plans, and we're very much in support of Paramount Pictures. Thank you so much.
Baba Iannacone, Patricia Casado.
Hi, my name is Bob Iannacone. I represent Local 705 Motion Picture and Television customers. I've always had a special affinity with the Paramount lot. When I first came to Hollywood, I didn't want to see Hollywood and Vine or the Chinese. I wanted to see the Paramount Gate because my favorite movie was and still is Sunset Boulevard. My first union job was at Western Costa, which was on Melrose at the time. It's now part of the lot, and the area was, to say the least at that time, a little run down and seedy. And I've seen the improvements that Paramount has made since then, and I look forward to the advances and improvements they're going to make. I only wish that they shoot more features on the lot, and they have an on-site costume department. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Patricia Casado, somebody who signed up as yeah.
Hi, my name is Patricia Casado. My family owns a business at 5536 Melrose, which is directly in front of the KCAL building. It's called Lucy's El Adobe Cafe. We've been there 52 years, and we have been neighbors and great supporters of Paramount Pictures. The revenue that they have brought into our community has helped keep Larchmont Village alive and has actually supported all of the businesses along Melrose. We also own property at 5426 Melrose, and we also own property at 646 North Beechwood Drive. So basically we go from the west to the east with the studio. So if it's going to impact anyone, it's going to impact us, but we think it's a good thing, and we urge you to support their master plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Nobody here by yeah? Okay. Chris Robertson and Julia Duncan from CD4 and CD13. So you guys you wish to speak now or after I take the public comment cards for number 8?
I have one request.
It's up to you. I mean, whatever you want to do.
I can speak now.
Or both? You want to speak?
I can speak briefly on the second, on the DA. Thank you. Good afternoon, council members. Chris Robertson, Planning Director for Councilmember Mitchell Farrell, the 13th District. We're here today to express our strong support for Paramount's proposed specific plan. Paramount is the longest operating and only remaining major studio in Hollywood. Over the years, the studio has grown considerably to over 60 acres. The overwhelming majority of the studio is located within Council District 13. They're one of our major employers, key stakeholders, and active community partners. The improvements outlined in the specific plan will enable Paramount to remain competitive and keep Hollywood in Hollywood so that Paramount can continue to serve as a production site for thousands of celebrated movies, television shows, and commercials in the coming decades. These improvements will generate nearly 20,000 jobs and billions of dollars in annual economic output. Over the last year, we've worked closely with Paramount to refine the scope of the specific plan to balance the needs of the studio with those of the community. We've also worked closely to assemble a package of community benefits as detailed in the DA. The on- and off-site improvements detailed in the specific plan, EIR, and DA will not only bring jobs and economic activity to the city, but will also enhance the project site and surrounding community by investing hundreds of millions of dollars worth of improvements. We look forward to seeing these improvements come to fruition and continuing to partner with Paramount to improve the community. As mentioned earlier, Paramount has submitted a letter to the committee in addition to a number of revised attachments requesting a number of clarifications and minor amendments to the DA and specific plan. We support the changes itemized in the letter and attachments. We would like to make one addition to Section 4G4 of the specific plan, which I'll go ahead and read into the record and provide a written copy to the clerk later. And that would be, the developer shall submit a relocation and preservation plan, which shall include information regarding the temporary storage of the RKO globe, details on the necessary restoration to be undertaken, information on the new location and installation of the RKO globe, and the proposed timeline beginning from removal of the RKO globe, estimated time frame for restoration, and estimated time for relocation. The developer shall submit a relocation and preservation plan 30 days prior to the demolition of Stage 21. And again, I'll provide that for the clerk. In closing, we'd like to thank the Planning Department for its thorough work on the project and thank Paramount for working closely with our office over the years and for their continued commitment to being a good neighbor and community partner in our district. We respectfully ask that you incorporate the proposed changes and ask for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Julia Duncan from CD4.
Good afternoon, council members. Julia Duncan, Councilman David Rue's office. We support the City Planning Commission's determination for the Paramount Pictures Master Plan with the modifications and technical corrections that were alluded to here today by the Planning Department and also submitted to you on a letter dated August 30th. That determination addressed the council members' concerns regarding height, sign regulations, and design regulations specific to the two ancillary lots located south of Melrose and in Council District 4. Paramount Pictures brings economic vitality and job creation to the Hollywood Studio District. The plan will allow Paramount to grow within its project site and accommodate the expanding office and studio space needed to compete in the competitive entertainment industry. Retaining this influential and historic studio in the heart of Hollywood is essential in affirming Hollywood's claim on the film industry and encouraging related growth and jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'll go on to public comment for number 8. Donor, John Garotto, Kathy Simonik.
Good afternoon. My name is Donor. I'm the Associate Executive Director for the Art Directors Guild. And on behalf of the LA area IATSC locals and the tens of thousands of entertainment industry workers in LA, I rise in support of the Paramount Master Plan as we continue our efforts to bring Hollywood back home where it belongs. The new and modern facilities in the plan mean jobs now for the building trades and jobs for production crews for years to come. In short, the plan's not just good for our industry, but good for the entire City of Angels. Thanks.
John Garotto, Kathy Simonik.
John Garotto. Commentary has been consistent. Paramount's outreach is excellent. I have never experienced such commendable and effective professionalism. To Sharon Kaiser's team, Andrea Sergioli, Christina Darenthal, and Maricela Gomez, I thank and acknowledge you.
Kathy, not here. Robert Beasy, Jim Rodarte, Craig Collins.
Thank you again. I spoke earlier on item number 7. I won't use my full minute, but I referred to
Your name again?
I will not use my full minute. Oh, my name is Craig Collins.
Okay.
I referred to some letters that our organization submitted beforehand. I have copies of those, and with the chairman's permission, I'd like to leave those with Ms. Dickinson so that they can become part of the record.
Okay, thank you. Karen Gilman, Greg DeGratt, Mary Ann Buener, welcome.
Good afternoon again, Chair, members of the Plum Committee, and City Planning staff. I'm Karen Gilman. I'm the Secretary of the Larchmont Village Neighborhood Association. I'm here to echo the same concerns that were brought before you from the Greater Wilshire Neighborhood Council, concerns about traffic mitigations, light, noise, transportation, height of the buildings. In particular, in addition, I'd like to let you know that the $125,000 public benefit addressed, I guess it's in the revisions to the City Planning Commission recommendation, while a step in the right direction, not remotely enough to compensate for the unfair burden placed on this historic neighborhood. The amount will not preserve the aesthetics of the neighborhood nor prevent unsafe traffic intrusion. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Greg DeGratt? No. Mary Ann Bruner? Beth Doris? Bert Champagne and Hugo Rossiter. Welcome.
Hello again, Beth Doris. I have one more concern about the development agreement and the changes that are proposed. The primary concern is that if the idea is to keep Paramount and to keep Paramount employing, as everyone seems to be commenting on today, then allowing them to sell off pieces of the property without the consent of the city and still maintain all those tremendous rights under the development agreement is a big problem. Thank you.
Thank you. Bert Champagne, Hugo Rossiter.
AKA Herman for the record. And I did put in a card for 7. Yeah. So what we're talking about is a sellout. The community has no input regarding a monopoly of signed supplements and regarding also the redevelopment of portions of the fucking project site with new fucking studio related use in circulation for fucking improvements and fucking parking facilities for non-disabled and disabled pedestrians who fucking have no orientation involved in this landscape.
Mr. Herman,
I'm reading right off the agenda, sir.
Can you let me finish, please?
Sure.
You come to every meeting, every council meeting, and I repeat that just so the public could know that you are here to disrupt the meeting. Please stay on topic. We respect your First Amendment right to speak how you want to express yourself, but you must speak on the topic before us, and this is on the development agreement per this project. So if you do not speak on that item, I will give you one warning, and if I have to give you a second warning, I'm going to ask you to leave this meeting. Thank you.
Now, on topic, during an impact report of the so-called environmental fucking clearance for mitigation, for measures and mitigations on monitoring this fucking program and site for Paramount Studios for $9 million fucking dollars, I find this racist and biased that the Los Angeles City Planning Commission doesn't take any input for the consideration of the public who oppose on these fucking ordinances relative to a development that's fucked up agreement against the city people who live here. Fuck you between the city of Los Angeles and Paramount Studios. Fuck you, you corporation.
Chris Robertson and Julia Duncan from CD4 and CD13, you're fine? Julia Duncan, you're fine? Okay. Any questions or comments on this item? We have some amendments before us. I just wanted to make clear as to what's before us. We have both the items 7 and 8. We will take them together. The first is the area findings, general plan amendment, zone change, etc. And the second is the development agreement on number 8. There's been some revised attachments, revised amendments. Attachment A requested edits to proposed specific plan, and also requested, attachment B requested edits to draft development agreement. My question on the development agreement is if I could have planning respond to something that was raised, which I had a question as well. The assignment of the agreement, is that standard language for most of our agreements so that no notice is required to be given to the city, or is that new language? Is that new to us?
It's not. It's new and it's not new. The language, the city doesn't have, for example, sorry, Lucy Barr with the Planning Department. The city has no adopted template. So this language is just a matter of practice that's involved in all our templates, and the city planning commissioners typically modify this language at CPC to confirm that the transfer of the obligations of the DA require the written consent of the city. The way that Paramount has proposed that language is that they can sell part or the entirety of their assets to an affiliate, but that they would still come to the city to get the consent of the city for the obligations of the DA. So they're separating ownership rights to the real property associated with Paramount from the obligations of the DA. So the way that it's drafted, and we can continue to work on the language of the city attorney, is to make sure that the city still gets prior consent of any transfer of the obligations of the DA.
Okay, thank you. And so all that it requires is it doesn't require any notice to the city. They assign the rights under. They
do provide notice to the city.
30 days, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is the CD13 proposed some amendments? I haven't seen those. Did you propose those in writing, or we just want to be clear what those were?
Those were proposed by the Paramount team.
Can we see those aside from Attachment B and Attachment A? Do we have anything else? I thought you had a verbal amendment.
Chris Robertson, Planning Director for Metro Farrell. We had proposed modified language to Section 4G4 of the specific plan to address preservation and protection plan for the RKO Globe. I read that verbally into the record. I don't have that written, but I can provide that.
Planning Department, do you have any feedback on that amendment? Anything?
So if I understand it correctly, at CPC, the commissioners considered preservation of the globe as a component of the development agreement. What CD13 is requesting is that be transferred to the specific plan. And so the obligations and the requirements stay the same. It's just in a different document.
Okay, great. Anything, any other questions or comments? No? I'm sorry, we don't allow...
from the committee.
We don't allow people from the public to come up. If we do that, we would have to allow everybody else, including Herman, to come up and speak, like the way you do. So you could shout things out, and that would be disrupting the meeting. Herman knows that too. So thank you. Any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I wanted to address some concerns that were brought up. In particular, there was a letter from Mr. Collins, and I just wanted to address that, if I may.
Sure.
So on September...
I'm sorry, for the record, we've received that. The clerk, did you get those letters? Madam Clerk? Do you have one on file?
Yeah, I have one.
And you showed her the Latham and Watkins letter, right? No, I'm talking.
This is a letter from Bloom Collins, from Craig Collins. He spoke today in the public comment.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen that letter. That's why I wanted to make sure that if somebody said they submitted one, that we do have it on record.
This one?
Okay, you got it? All right, thank you.
Okay, so in a letter dated September 6th, Mr. Craig Collins submitted a letter challenging the EIR prepared for the Paramount project. Planning staff has reviewed this letter and determined that his assertions have no merit. Among them, and primarily, he discusses the air quality impacts as analyzed in the EIR. All the assumptions for air quality were clearly identified in Section 4B under the air quality analysis of the draft EIR and within the associated appendices. The EIR concluded that there would be less than significant impacts relative to the health risk assessment that was conducted, even though the project did not meet the threshold for conducting one. In addition, The project describes various attainment levels for ozone and the ozone precursors, including volatile organic compounds and nitrous oxide. With respect to health risk assessment for emergency generators, these generators are permitted in accordance with the Air Quality Management District Rule 1472, which ensures that no impacts would occur. With respect to construction health risks, there was a detailed health risk analysis included in the EIR. The gentleman states that nitrous oxide should have been the basis for localized operational emissions. However, in accordance with the Air Quality Management Plan, the city determines these impacts with carbon monoxide using established thresholds and standardized requirements. The project was consistent with Air Quality Management District guidance, and the project is consistent with the adopted Air Quality Management Plan. Based on the totality of the evidence, the EIR adequately and conservatively analyzed all potential impacts and impacts associated with the project using established and adopted thresholds available. There was another comment by the public that contested the height of the project and the digital signage and the super graphics. I just want to reiterate that the City Planning Commission at its meeting reduced the height of any towers on the project site from 240 feet to 150 feet, and it did not permit digital or super graphic signage.
Okay.
And I just want to add one more comment. There was a mention by the applicant that that the repair and reconstruction of structures will be more than 10% or not to exceed 10,000 square feet, and that no new construction exceed 5,000 square feet to be exempt. I just want to clarify that any modifications to these structures still have to be reviewed by our Office of Historic Resources, because we do have historic districts in the specific plan, so we just want to make sure that that gets captured as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
No.
Okay.
Oh, for me, sorry.
So we'll move to adopt the GPA resolution and zone change ordinance and request the city attorney to prepare and present code amendment ordinance to establish the Paramount Picture specific plan and include the revised conditions per attachment A and CD 13. We further move, we request the city attorney to prepare and present the development agreement ordinance and include the revised attachment B. So CD 13 verbals were to the specific plan, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And the development agreement is for 8.
Okay, got it. So items 7 and 8 as amended. Any objections to approving those items? Seeing none, so ordered. Thank you. This is moving to council. Is there a predetermined date for council, or is it per the president's discretion?
It's scheduled for Wednesday, the 14th. It's going to also be heard with the track map appeal.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Councilman, for clarification, is there an amendment to number 8? Or it's simply the instruction for city attorney to?
I was, number 8, yes, the attachment B. I read both
Okay.
Directions for 7 and 8. One was for the development agreement, the other was for the specific plan to approve those.
And the clerk has those?
Yes, the clerk, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, so ordered. Item number 9.
Item 9, Councilman, this is a Planning Commission report. It's an ordinance for a zone change and a height district change. It's a mixed-use project which will include 200 dwelling units, and 5% of the units will be for very low-income residents.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Sergio Ibarra with the Planning Department. At its meeting on May 12, 2016, the LA Planning Commission approved a mixed-use development of 200 dwelling units with 5%, 9 units of the units restricted as very low income as part of a density bonus case. 3 of the units restricted as workforce housing and 4,700 square feet of ground floor commercial area. The project would construct a new 7-story building on the western portion of the project site. The project would protect and retain the existing on-site Earl Carroll Theater, which has been approved by the Cultural Heritage Commission as a historic cultural monument. The project utilizes a density bonus package incentive parking option 1 and an off-menu incentive to permit a 1.5 west side yard setback. The project also includes a vesting zone change and height district change from C4-2D SN and R4-2D to TQC4-2D SN and TQC4-2D with an FAR of up to 3:1 to 1 on the western lots where the mixed-use building is at, and a 1.2 to 1 FAR on the eastern lots where the Earl Carroll Theater is at. The Planning Department has submitted a correction letter for your consideration and is available for any questions after the hearing. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. We have 3 speaker cards for the applicant. You have a total of 5 minutes. I don't know if you want to split those 5 minutes up between you, or one person can take 5 minutes and the others take 1 minute each. However you want to split that up, let me know. Be happy to abide. Chris Golder also we have Sherry Bonstell and Benjamin Resnick and Chris Golder. So however you want to divide the 5 minutes up. Whoever wants to take the 5 minutes could go first. Thanks. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Sherry Bonsall from Jeff Mangles, and I am representing the applicant and the property owner, Essex Portfolio LP. We support the revised letter from the Planning Department that they submitted to you on the CPC approval, and we submitted our letter last week with a few additional requests. One of our requests is to remove the requirement for electrical vehicle charging stations. Under the EIR, it was evaluated and proposed that the project include 20% electrical vehicle ready, and the applicant volunteered 2 EV charging stations. At the City Planning Commission, one of the commissioners proposed that 5% of the EV charging stations actually be constructed, and this would be significantly cost prohibitive and isn't necessary at this time. It would require an additional 17 charging stations at a cost of approximately $8,000 per station. We already have 20% EV ready, which would be 64 stations. And the owner identified that in his other projects currently, they don't use EV charging stations. And it is much better if the 20% just remain EV ready, and in the future, if additional stations are needed, the technology at the time would be the most appropriate use of the money that would be used for building the charging station. So we're requesting that that item be removed. The second issue is that the word vesting keeps being removed from our zone change request. We did apply for a vesting zone change. You can tell that because there's a VZC in our request. And it's important to us that that word vesting remain in our approval for many reasons. The third request is that the street dedication waiver be approved. We requested this 2 years ago when we applied for the project. We only requested on the Leland Way side, which is a single street that is dead end. It has streets on both ends. It's a very narrow street, and we have a historic building on our property that goes to the property line. So there's no way that most of the property can be enlarged to have a larger street, and we just request that the portion where the new building is going also not require a street dedication. Above ground, the building is set back 15 feet, but we need the street waiver for a subterranean garage. And the final request is we have been working with Hollywood Heritage and the historic community for many, many months. And they have requested that we not increase the floor area of the Earl Carroll Theater building. We currently don't know what the floor area of the Earl Carroll Theater is because we haven't done a full survey. So we are proposing a condition that we will do a survey of the entire area, and we will not increase the floor area of that building by more than 16% from the final survey. We've drafted some language, which we can provide to you, and we request that this be added as one of the conditions. As was stated, the building was designated as a city historic monument last week. So there is no concern that this building is or is not historic. It will be preserved, and we are proposing this additional language to come to an agreement with the historic community. I am here with members of the applicant, with Essex, in addition to our EIR preparers, traffic consultants, historic consultants, and Ben Resnick at my firm if you have any additional questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the applicant wish to speak? Chris Golder. And Benjamin Resnick, do you wish to speak before or afterwards? However, okay. Okay, Benjamin Resnick.
I think the applicant will just answer questions if there are any questions. I only want to emphasize the need for the waiver of the dedication. This is Leland goes nowhere. It dead ends, and it's a short little block. And as Sherry pointed out, we have a historic building goes right up the property line. So we think it's all the justifications are there. So we would appreciate the recommendation that the waiver be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. John Garotto.
John Garotto speaking for Hollywood Heritage. Hollywood Heritage has a very positive communication with Essex Portfolio, and we commend them for their outreach on the issue of a request to change the FAR on the eastern lot from 1.2 to 2:1. We are currently in progress to resolving this issue, and both of us have the mutual goal of protecting the ECT. Thank you.
Thank you. Herman.
Wow. Another standard of language to this so-called low income of 3 units, restricted workforce housing. But for whom? Independent living of Southern California? No. This has to do with item 9, a statement of overriding consideration and related environmental impact to quality of life. Isn't that fucked up? We're talking about a report from the Los Angeles City Planning Commission and an ordinance to the relative to the vesting zone change that has fucked our city up. So the bottom line is we're getting shortchanged the same way we got shortchanged for independent living of Southern California. A standard language. Isn't that fucked up? Last 3 seconds, Mr. Chair. You may have the 2 seconds back.
Thank you. Chris Robertson, CD 13.
Good afternoon again. Chris Robertson, Planning Director for Councilmember Mitch O'Farrell of the 13th District. We're here today to support the proposed project. This project will transform a surface parking lot into a vibrant mixed-use development, bringing 200 much-needed housing units to the area. We would like to commend the applicant for working closely with our office to incorporate affordable housing and refine the design, and for engaging the major stakeholders in the community, particularly the preservation community. The developer has committed to include 12 covenanted affordable units above and beyond the minimum required per the density bonus ordinance. Moreover, the developer voluntarily nominated the historic Earl Carroll Theater as a historic cultural monument and has committed to restore its historic facade. Last week, the CHC approved their application. The councilman is strongly committed to ensuring that Hollywood continues to evolve as a world-class city while protecting and preserving the many unique historical attributes that make Hollywood unique. This project strikes that important balance. And I would like to clarify that we do support the modifications requested by the applicant and those outlined by the Planning Department in the letter they submitted to the file. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And those, to clarify, include the changes on the electric vehicles, the vesting language that was somehow omitted, the waiver of street dedication, and the, I think that's the Q condition 18, right? That
correct.
That's in writing. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this? Okay, so with that, we'll approve, we'll move this item, approve a vesting zone change and height district change with technical corrections and modifications as requested by planning, and approve the changes requested by the applicant and supported by Council District 13 with respect to those 4 items that were raised. And we have those on record and verbalized. Okay, so ordered. Thank you. Next item.
Public comment, Council.
Okay. We have one public comment card. Herman?
1 minute? 1 minute only. It's really fucked up when you get 1 minute and it had a negotiate this so-called Rolf M. Brown Act. But as you see, no one pays attention during the session of public comment. The dwarf, Dibble Dwarf, is leaving. Take a seat, foo. This meeting's not over. I got 54.954.3.
Herman, can you hold this time? You hadn't started his time, number one. And number two, you have to speak to public comment as it relates to planning and land use issues in the city of Los Angeles. Thank you.
So the issue on the past hearing of item 34 or 43, if I got it backwards or not, independent living of Southern California for the same fucked up planning commission issues for $225 million. Booyah, bitch, pay up. That's because you took out of consideration what was obligated by the standards of the American Disability Act to follow, and you were not in compliance. That's the reason why you fucked up on planning. The same way we heard two issues today, item 7, item 8, and let me throw in item 9 that you fucked up on. So we'll see what the outcome of this is. You attorneys, stand behind me and put your hands out. Independent living of Southern California, thank you for fucking us for $225. And Weezer, are you from Mexico, you 4-year-old fool? Tell us.
Mickey Jackson.
Well, that's a lot to follow. I'm here, I wanted to talk a little bit about the previous project on Sunset.
I'm sorry, we have a rule that public comment is for items that are not on the agenda. That is a rule that we follow.
Okay, then I'll do a general comment, because it's
comment.
very general in any case. I am once again concerned because we are doing spot zoning and we are, allowing a lot of development in one place. I'm concerned that there's very few affordable housing units, again, very few. I'm concerned that existing housing is moved aside and shoved aside, preparing for these things. And I'm very concerned that we're not following our process that we should follow as well as we can. As you know, I'm with the Coalition to Preserve LA, and our initiative is the Neighborhood Integrity Initiative. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other items before us today?
No, Council.
It adjourns this meeting. Thank you.